topic that I haven't heard too much spoken about, but that is something that I like to think about, is reciprocity in relationships, in terms of how much are you giving, how much are you receiving in terms of contact through communication, presence, someone being there for you, that kind of thing like that. I think that, so many people construct lives for themselves in which they are always busy. And if that's the case, where you're either like working, doing errands, doing chores, or entertaining yourself, then this is probably not an issue that you think much about, because any contact that you have, a brief phone call, texting somebody, sending off a brief email, you squeeze that in to the rest of your life. My life is largely focused on communication, and I believe that it is the most important thing that I'm here to do. And so how I communicate and dealing with issues of communicate is something that I'm much more focused on than most people. And in that process, I notice subtle things that other people might not pay attention to. And because I have a lot of spaciousness in my life, my work is pretty self-perpetuating, and so it takes probably like half an hour a day on average for me to keep up on it and everything. That leaves a lot of space in my life, and so obviously it's a lot easier for me to get back to somebody quickly than other people. And so that's something I keep in mind is, okay, don't take it personally because other people are more busy and that kind of thing like that. Then there's also not just the timing of reciprocity, but the depth of reciprocity. If you are in a situation where you feel like you take a risk and you bare your soul and you share something personal with someone in your life and they just don't meet it, they don't know how to respond contactfully, or they feel a little uncomfortable because you're being too deep or whatever like that, that's another form of lack of reciprocity. And so it could be that person is always there for you as long as you keep things light and as long as you're doing activities you both enjoy or talking about things that you both are interested in. But I believe it's important to nourish relationships that reciprocate the depth that you feel within yourself. Because I believe that a lot of people, nearly everyone, has a very deep and powerful experience of their life when they allow themselves to access it, when they're not caught up in their addictions and their busyness and distractions of life. Being here and being a human being is a very powerful, intense experience, and so it requires some reflection. It requires your attention, and to have people in your life who are willing to go deep with you and to share what they're really feeling and what they're really thinking about, and just know themselves on a deeper level and take the time to know you as well. That really nourishes the soul. And I think that we ideally, of course, are looking for that in terms of a romantic partner or partners, but in all of our relationships there's room for that. In a lot of ways I've noticed that people kind of manage their relationships is through an unconscious choice of being busy and being stressed out. So that way, if they have people in their life that they're really not that connected to and they really don't have contact with in one way or another, it doesn't meet them on a deeper level, then the busyness or developing an illness or whatever is an excuse to not engage, and nobody questions it. So you can go on thinking, well, I've got a pretty good community. I've got 100 people that are friends of mine on my Facebook page, and that's a lot of people, and so why do I feel lonely at night? It's not about the quantity of people that you are in contact with on some level. It is about the quality of the contact. And so you can test it and push it and see what relationships are made of by bearing yourself in terms of the deeper stuff. What are you experiencing? What are you feeling? And which relationships can reciprocate? And if they cannot reciprocate, diminish their importance. don't bark up the wrong tree. Don't reach out with that which is most precious to you and expect it to be received with graciousness by somebody who doesn't understand empathy or true contact, authenticity, these kinds of things. It is better to hold on to that yourself if you don't have anyone in your life who can reciprocate it, until you do find people that can reciprocate. Protect and nurture what is vulnerable and real for you, because it can be a very isolating experience to be around people but not in contact with them. And as more and more people awaken to a deeper, more sensitive and vulnerable way of being, contact is what they're going to crave. So it's not so much that there's not enough potentiality out there. It's who's going to take the risk of being known first. And it could be that people who have been friends for years, for example, they realize that they both have a lot of stuff within them, that they want to explore and express, but nobody took the first step. Nobody was courageous enough to say, I was having some pretty dark thoughts last night, and, because that's not what we talk about. We talk about our crushes, and we talk about that movie that just came out, and we talk about what that celebrity did, and blah, blah, blah. We fill our heads with triteness and our conversations with gossip, because that's what we do. And it's not nourishing. Reciprocity is nourishing. Being able to give, being able to receive, and have that energy flow, that's what helps us feel connected to life. And again, if you don't have that in your life, don't despair, because sometimes the universe pushes us to understand ourselves better as individuals and get comfortable with our individual and personal kinds of awareness before we are presented with other opportunities. But there is a process where contact with others, contact with yourself can build upon itself and help both of those experiences grow and evolve. It's not an either-or situation. Sometimes taking risks with others and sharing, even if you don't feel met, it can at least move you closer into your true self. And that's what I think it's ultimately all about, is being your true self, living authentically, doing what you're here to do, and expressing yourself honestly.